Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Friday at 4.
Hi, Chuck. How you doing? It's good to be back.
It's cold, 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 cold.
It is freezing here. Here in New York, it's like 3 degrees.
Wow,
Which
insane.
is probably about 50 degrees colder than I would like.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep, definitely with you. Yeah. Yeah, I woke up this morning, it was 4 degrees. I
Mm.
think it's up to where we at now. We are at 19 degrees right now.
Ooh,
Yeah.
heat wave, heat
Heat
wave. I like
wave,
it.
right? Yeah. Yeah. So what you got for topic today?
So I was thinking networking, and it
Okay.
may sound kind of, yeah, we know all about it, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? There's an art to networking. Um, there's all different types of expectations around it. Some work, some don't, some right, some way wrong. So I just wanted to kind of kick that around a little bit from my experience of doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll give some ideas for people to make better use of it so that they can get better results from it. If that
Yeah.
kind of
I,
makes
and what's cool about it, right? Networking doesn't just have to be for business to business or business to person or or consumer. It can be friend to friend and family to
yeah,
family, and people don't
yeah,
realize it. There's so much that can go into that word networking, right? Yeah.
right. Yeah, it is. It is. There's a common misconception that if you build it, people will come, and that's not always true. So just
In
because you have a
fact,
networking group, whether it's online, in person, whatever, just because you create a group doesn't mean people will join the group, doesn't mean you'll get results from the group. So every group is different, and there are thousands and thousands of groups for various purposes across the country. So first off, not every group is for every person. And not every person is for every group. So it really works both ways. So you really need to pick and choose. Now, one of the misconceptions that I've experienced and I've heard a lot of is I'm going to go out and I'm going to join all these different groups, which is what I did when I started my business in 2013. Now, in theory, that's really good because the logic behind it is the more I get my name out there, and the more people that know me, the better. That was the logic. Again, coming out of corporate, that's all I knew, and I didn't know if it was right or wrong. So I went out and I joined, this is in 2013, I joined a ton of chambers of commerce, a ton of networking groups, online, in person, whatever else. So now there's a couple of challenges with that. Number one is the cost of all those different groups. And back then, the ones I joined were all paid to join. So now you got the cost issue. Then you have the time issue. There's 24 hours in a day. How much time do you spend networking? Oh, and by the way, you either have a job or you have a business. So if you're spending so much time networking, you're avoiding everything else.
yeah,
Then you have the bigger issue, which happened to me was, let's say I meet Chuck, and Chuck goes out and he goes into restaurants and he finds what's right, what's wrong. He gives reviews and he does a great job for that restaurant. But what if I find three people like Chuck? Now, it so happens that Chuck owns the only one I know of that does what he does, but let's assume there were three of Chuck and I build a relationship and we all get along. Now I have a potential referral. Who do I give it to? Because there's three of Chuck. Now I know there's only one Chuck. And that's it. And then he does an amazing job again. But how do I know who to give it to? So that's a big challenge. Now your allegiance is torn because there are a lot of groups out there, and I've been in a number of them that say we meet once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And part of the requirement is to give a referral. So if I have 3 of Chuck and 3 of Joe and 3 of Sue and 3 of Mary, and I have a referral, who do I give it to? Because if I give it to Chuck, then I'm not giving it to the person in the next networking group, which means I fall short of that group's requirement to give a referral. So you're always giving out a good referral to one person and a bogus referral to somebody else. And it's only a matter of time before word travels, says, hey, Steve's giving bogus referrals. Don't refer back to him. So you shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, or that topic of conversation for right now, is my suggestion is join a small number of groups. Could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, but I really wouldn't go further. Take a look at the groups, see who's in them, build the relationships. If you find you have enough referrals to go around, great. If you don't, you may need to cut one. Now, let's go as an offshoot to that. If you're in, whether it's one or multiple groups, and you're there, and again, this is an open-ended statement because there's no definite answer. How long do you stay in a group before you get nothing in return? Now, this assumes you're giving, so you give, you get back. But if you are in one or more groups, do you stay 3 months, 6 months, 12 months before you say, you know what? I'm getting nothing out of here. Now, my experience says to me, and being in many groups over many years, when I used to go into, or anybody that I know, you go into a new group and it's that wow factor. Here comes Chuck. He's got a great service, great product. We want to refer to him. But again, do you give it 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Because at some point that wow factor wears off. And you're no longer being thought of in that, oh, new guy, got to help him. He can help me back. So at some point, if you're not getting the results, as my business partner says, find a new room. Get out of the group and go find another one. There's also so many groups that you can easily find one that has no cost associated. There's also many, many groups who will say you're allowed to come in and attend twice before you make a decision to, do you stay or not? So look around, find a couple of groups, look into them first, look them up online. If you can find how many people, the different professions, sometimes you can find out who's in the groups. And if you think you can build some, then, or something, then go in, attend 1 or 2 meetings. And if it's not for you, thanks very much. Have a great day and go find another one. There are so many groups, they're all desperate for people.
Yeah. That's been my challenge, or the recent business has been my challenge of finding one that I gel with. Back in my first business with the strict mystery shopping company, I belonged to one. They didn't charge. It was a mastermind group. It was like 7 of us, maybe 6 of us. And we all just gelled. It was amazing. We bounced ideas, things worked. And I think that's one of the challenges right now is finding one that fits your personality, one that you feel that you fit into. And I have yet to find that. I really haven't, I've only dived in like 2 of them this recent business. And I just kind of like backed off a little bit just because time initially is the big thing. It's time. It takes a lot of time,
Right. Yeah.
And I want to find something that I feel valuable for me and my business, not just referring people to other people, just
Correct.
doing the group just to do the group.
There's a lot to be said for the right group, for the right group of people. Yes, it can be amazing. But if you're in the wrong one, it can be very frustrating. And it absolutely can.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things, and again, I've heard multiple sides and experienced multiple sides. So you find a networking group that you think is good and you attend. And the first thing that people think about is, I have a business card. I must talk to every single person in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, not me, but the thinking is you go person to person to person to person. Here's my card, here's my card, here's my card.
Yeah.
99 out of 100 cards will end up in the wastebasket, on the floor. So what are you really gaining? The answer is nothing.
Yeah.
So the smart thing to do, and I heard this from several people, and I haven't done it yet, but I need to do this, which I thought it was brilliant. And it does take a little bit of research, but the end result is well worth it. And what that says is go online and do a Google search on that group for that day and time that you're going to be there. And if you can find the list of attendees, go down the list, do a little research on who each person is, what they do, and as long as there are 2, 3, 4, 5 people, hopefully 5, that you think can be good to refer back and forth and for your business, the next step you do is you then look in that Google search, who's the host of the meeting? Because then when you go to the meeting, you go in, find the host, and say, hey, Joe, Mary, Sue, Bob, whatever the name is, I have these 3, 4, 5 people I'm really looking to meet. Can you introduce me? They will spend a few minutes with each one and then leave. You've done what you went to do. You've met what, in your estimation, are those key people that will help your business. You don't need to see all 100 people. Select those few, and then when you're done, you leave and you follow up. But when you talk to those 3, 4, 5 people, the key is, and I think I've said this before, and I hope I say this right, be interested, not interesting. And the difference is, if you're interested, ask them questions and listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. Hey, Chuck, tell me about X. Really, that's really interesting. Can you expand a little more? Because you really piqued my curiosity. Oh, by the way, you mentioned something else. What's this? What's that? People like to talk. Let them talk. If they have a business card, take some quick notes on their card. So, number 1, they talk, which they like. Number 2, you're taking notes so you remember key things of what they said. When that conversation gets done with them, you say something along the lines of, that was great. Thanks. I really, need to meet somebody else. I'm going to call you so that we can have a second meeting because we talked about you. I'd like to explain what I do and see how we can work together.
Yeah. And
So,
something I want to mention real quick is that on the business card side, I do something that's really interesting. I laminated a QR code.
mhm.
And when I go to these meetings, I talk to people and they say, you have a business card? I say, I do not. But I pull that out and they go, wow, that's very interesting. And they take a picture of it And they're
Yep.
like, and they bookmark our website
Yep.
right there.
Yeah.
Saves a ton of
Yep.
money. That way you're not
It
worrying
does.
about, your car being in the trash can on the floor, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
somewhere that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
You're wasting money, So
Correct.
people
And yeah.
love that I pull that QR code out.
Yep.
They're like, this is
Yeah.
really cool. So like, I never
Yeah.
thought about that.
And there
Just something I wanted
are,
to mention.
yeah, there are different apps that allow you, when they take a picture, it
Mhm.
populates your information in their phone's contact list.
We
And
tried that
then
at this
you
one
get
meeting I was at.
theirs in your contact list.
We tried that this one meeting I went to, and it just couldn't get it to work. It was very frustrating.
Okay. But I know
Yeah.
people that do that, that
Yeah.
you scan theirs and your stuff goes there and their stuff goes to you. So you
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
And
We just
then
couldn't get it to
you,
work. So I didn't even do it. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
I,
never mind.
again, I don't have that, but
Yeah.
not yet, but I know I have to because I've heard some good things about those types of programs. But it gives you the ability to capture their information. And
Right.
the next day, hey, Chuck, met you last night. This is, we talked all about you and it's great. You know what? I was so interested. I still have a few follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Can we meet for coffee? It's the New York accent, coffee.
Yep.
Um, but-
Coffee.
Coffee. But can we meet for that? Can we meet? And this way we'll answer the few questions I have left for you, and then I can explain a little bit about what I do. And again, explore opportunities.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if you have the run of the mouth on the first meeting, there is no need for them to meet you again.
Yep. Because you tell them what you do, you tell them who you are, and if you don't
Yeah,
fit, moving on. They're not going to try to refer you or help
right.
you. Just they don't. It's not a good fit, and keep moving.
Correct.
Yeah.
And part of the idea of letting them talk first, if you ask the right questions, you will find out their or at least some of their hot buttons. So if there's a way, and it's got to be legitimate because I don't play the games. If it's legitimate, when you explain what you do, shorten down what you do. Don't have diarrhea of the mouth. Shorten it down a little bit and gear it towards their needs.
Hmm.
So, number
Yeah.
one, you let them talk. Number two, you listened to them. And now you're telling them what you do that you can help solve their concerns and problems.
Yeah.
If you can help solve some of these problems, it's a home run. Nobody's going to say no to you. You're
Yep.
taking away their pain.
Yep.
Very important. And there's a whole structure around how to do that. And there's no perfect solution. People make mistakes, but that's okay. Learn. But the more you talk to people, the better you will become. The shorter the conversations will be, the more directed they will be. And that's
Yeah.
what you want.
Yeah.
Because if there's 100 people and you're targeting five, if that person's targeting all 100, they're not going to give you more than a couple of minutes at best. So you
Yeah.
have to make the best use of your time and their time to get the
Right.
information and schedule that second meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a whole art to it. Whether that's in person, whether that's on a Zoom or a Google Meets or whatever you're using, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Let people talk, ask questions. That one of my business partners, he's got a very simple three-step process. Build a relationship, ask questions, solve their problems.
Yeah.
Very simple.
It doesn't get no
Solve the
simpler
problem.
than that. Yeah.
And there are several heavy duty sales coaches and branding people that I'm associated with. And they all say the same thing. Once you find out their hot buttons, when you start explaining what you do, don't say, hey, I do financial services, blah, blah, blah. Give them a story.
Yep.
Hey, I helped somebody who was going to run out of money in retirement based on his current spend. We turned things around for him. Now he's got an income for life.
Yeah. I think that's what
That-
helps me so well is I don't talk about being a podcaster and doing a show. I talk about how it's put together. I talk about flow. I'm not here to hurt your business. I'm here to help promote it and make things happen. And people really they perk up when I talk about it. They're like, oh, that's interesting. So it works. What you're saying is the truth. You know?
Because the expectation of some unknown person walking through the front door is they're going to try to sell me something because they want a commission.
Right.
That's just the way people think because the whole field has evolved the wrong way. So
Yeah.
you have to be different. So
Yeah.
exactly what you do. Hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help drive traffic. I'm here to make your business better. This is why I'm here. And then stop and hear what they have to say.
Yeah. I think I actually got a lead today
Nice.
talking to a woman, and she works for a restaurant. And I just talked about editing, trying to finish up editing my latest show. Oh, what show do you have? Oh, here's my QR code. Check it out. Wow,
Hmm.
it's interesting. I'll tell my boss about it. So this could lead to another episode of the show.
Right.
So yeah, so
That's what
it
you do.
works. Yeah,
So you have to be interested in somebody else.
yeah,
The other side to that of being interesting is when you talk and don't stop talking because you're hearing yourself talk, thinking the other person is interested.
yeah.
In reality, they don't care
Don't care. Yeah,
because you're talking, you're feeling good. They just want to run away.
yeah,
So if you're interested, listen twice as much as you talk. Ask the questions, take notes, and don't tell them what you do. Arrange for the follow up because you have more questions for them. And when you're done with those questions, now, hey, let me give you the quick down and dirty of what I do and how it can help you.
yeah,
That's the way to work it.
yeah,
And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, but one of the things, so I've extolled the virtues, supposedly, of networking and why you should and how to get around it. And again, that's basic and there's so much more. But one of the things that I'm starting to hear from people, and in networking, you're going to hear talk to as many people as you can, build it, build it, build it. But when you're talking to that many people, whether it's a short time of a night, a week, a month, a year, you have so many people, a stack of cards a mile wide if you're still using cards. Who's who? Back to that same question. Who's who? Who do you refer to? Do you remember them? Did they remember you? There's a lot of downsides of talking to zillions of people. But there's a trend starting, and I've heard this from a number of people. Don't talk to a zillion people. Build smaller. So, have you ever heard the term build wide? Well, in this case, build narrow and go deep. So, what that means is instead of talking to 100 people, talk to 10, build five. That's why I said look up who's going to be in a meeting and try to meet those few you want to.
right.
Smaller number of people and build the relationship deep. Because if you can build and solidify that relationship, you could end up with referrals forever, depending on the type of business they have, you have type stuff. But if you keep chasing that little tiny shiny object, you're going to go nowhere. But if you chase and build and go deep, you're going to find longer lasting relationships. And
Yeah,
again, no magic answer, whether you give it a month, a day, a week, a month, 6 months, no magic answer. But if the person's receptive, you meet periodically, in many cases, you have to give that first referral to get something back. So, again, there's different things to do. But if you can do that and build deep, you could end up with just a small number of people and be set for a long time.
yeah. The thing for me is time. I just don't have time. I was a I was talking in two groups, like I told you, it was two groups,
Okay.
and I just don't have the time to stay focused in it. There's too much going on in my life right now to try to stay on top of building a network of
Mm.
people, because I know what I do, the way I do things, you know, I get in front of people. So as I move around and travel, that's the way I network. So I'm set up a little bit different than I just go out and meet people, just take it one at a time and try to make it valuable rather than, relying on referrals right now because I just don't have the time. I wish I did, but it's not there,
Okay. I mean, everybody's different. Their situation is different.
Yeah.
I know in the Alignable platform, and I'm sure you can do this in LinkedIn and Facebook and other places as well. You can do a search that says, give me, for example, CPAs in New York. I do that. I'm going to come up with the 5, 10 dozen that I'm connected to now. So now that I know where they are, I can then reach out and say, hey, latest trend is, or send them an article
Mhm.
that's of some hot topic that just came out. And I'm not
Right.
looking for a sale. It's just, hey, Chuck, here's an article I thought you might be interested in. Done, done. Or here's some webinar you might be interested in. Here's some in-person event you might be interested in. Done. What that does is it costs you minutes to send an email with a link or something else, but it shows the person you're not sales because you're just providing information,
Right.
that you care about them, and you may not get something right away, and you probably won't. But if you do that every other week, every third week, over some period of time, they're going to remember you, that you're
Yeah.
the guy who didn't pester them, didn't
Right.
try to sell them. You were informative, and they're going to come back and give you something.
Yeah. I think that's one of the keys, right? When you go to a place like this, don't try to sell everybody because nobody wants to be sold to. They want a conversation. They just want to know what you do and
Hmm.
how you can help so they can look at if you can't help them directly, how can you help someone they know indirectly? So
Correct.
that's a big thing is don't be so salesy all the time.
People are looking for help, they're looking for answers.
Yeah.
And because there are so many salespeople that want something in return, whatever that may be,
Yeah.
to
Right.
have somebody who helps, genuinely helps, and doesn't say, oh, I gave you a lead or two leads last month. You owe me one back.
Yeah.
They're going to lose your number real quick, or they're going to block your phone number, block your email.
Yeah.
But if you continually give, it does go a long way. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be a one-to-one,
Yeah.
but there is some good stuff that comes out of it.
So true. So true. And that's what I liked about the two that I had briefly, kind of got into recently. They were really informative. The people that read them were very smart. They were building an empire, and I liked the people that I had networked with. It's just a shame I can't keep up, because I want to, but it's just the time. It's if you don't have the time for this kind of stuff, it's not going to work because you got to put the time in, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's important,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I met a guy in a networking meeting last week. Great guy. We talked for not even 5 minutes, but we hit it off right away. We had a follow-up meeting yesterday on a Zoom. It was him and his partner. I'm purposely not giving you the names. Um, and we're meeting next week in his office because just in those two short conversations, if you will, we're going in the same direction. We have the same interest, helping people, giving back, all the things that you really need to do. You can't be a taker all the time. You have to give. And so we're meeting next week to potentially talk about a larger initiative that we can both benefit on. with the end result of helping people.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
so
great.
if you do it right and you do the giving side of it as opposed to the take side,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I will say here that it's definitely you are well ahead of me on the networking part because you do it way more than I do.
right.
So if you have any questions or concerns or want more knowledge about networking, reach out to Steve, 516-727-2294. He seems to be the man.
All right, thank you, Chuck. But
Absolutely, because you've been doing this for a while, and I like
mm,
the knowledge you have about the network, and you definitely know enough. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I know a certain amount because I've been doing this for a number of years.
Uh,
There's obviously a lot more. What I went through is through my experiences. And obviously, there's more out there than just my experience.
yeah.
But if you are new to the game or having a challenge at getting results, am I in the right group? Am I talking to the right people? Am I saying the right things?
Right.
I have no problem, having a sidebar conversation and tell you what's going on, listen to you, hear what you're doing, and give you some pointers for you to try. There is no magic bullet because every person is different.
And that's the thing,
But
right? You
if
get a
you,
bunch of people together in the same room.
yeah,
Everybody's different. You gotta wear multiple hats to figure out who you can
right,
network with and who you can't. Yeah. If
right,
it's gonna be a fit for you or not.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
get it.
it's true. But the key is what are you doing today? And unless somebody objectively says that piece is working, that you may want to change, unless somebody says that to you, you're going to keep doing the stuff and keep getting no results. So you really
Absolutely.
need to talk to somebody. And yes, you can find people that are much more experienced than me, and likely you're going to pay a lot of money to do that. And that's okay because some of these people are really good. But if you
Yeah.
want to start small and work up to the paying for somebody, if you want to go that route,
Mhm.
start small. Start with the basics before you jump into the deep end of a pool.
That's true. So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great information, great knowledge, Steve.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks
I
for
try.
coming on. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, thanks for coming on and
Mm,
sharing that knowledge. It's definitely,
mhm,
um, interesting and eye-opening because I know over the years there was this one, and real quick before we wrap up
mm,
here, there's this one I belonged to in my first business. It really was a networking group, but it
mm.
was. He would
Okay.
hold these seminars where he talked
Mm,
about
mhm,
what he did as a business, how he did things, and he wrote a book.
mm,
And he held this seminar to where you come in and listen to him. He gave you a free
mhm,
book, and at the end of it, he gave you 15 minutes to just talk to people. So it was a
mm.
semi-networking group, and it
Nice.
worked very, very well for me because
Mm,
you're going to a place where you're not networking per se. You're going to a
right.
group to listen to a seminar,
Right.
and I love that.
Right.
And it worked. I went several times.
Nice.
Only got one book. I told him,
Okay.
I don't need another book, buddy. But
All right.
it was an interesting book, good read. Just, I think it had a lot of value for me because
Yeah.
it wasn't just about a network group. It was about going to a seminar where people were actually
Yeah.
listening to this guy talk. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to pounce on people with 35 business cards.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Again, there's no right or wrong. Everybody's experience is different, but
yeah,
you have to start somewhere
yeah,
because if you're doing your own thing and you're not getting the results you want, you have two choices. You can keep doing what you're doing and getting the same results, or you
yeah.
can expand out and try different things. And
Right.
if you're going to
Absolutely.
try different things, I always tell people go slow, experiment. Don't jump in the deep end right away. If you don't know how to swim, don't jump in the deep end. Start in the
Yeah,
shallow end where you can stand and go down the steps.
yeah,
And when you go to the
absolutely.
first step and it works, go to the second step, go to the third step.
Yeah,
Same thing with this.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Thanks for
No,
coming on
yeah,
again on
yeah.
this wonderful Friday at Cold Four.
Friday at cold four. Yes, it's freezing, freezing four.
Yes. And it's Friday at
Yep.
4 because
It's 4 o'clock somewhere.
it looks like somewhere. Man, I
Yep.
tell you, we got to warm this place up, man. It is just so cold right now.
It
I
is
don't want to do nothing.
freezing.
Yeah, man, I don't want to do nothing, man. I'll stay right here, but got to keep moving, got to keep going, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have to. You
Well,
have no
Steve,
choice.
thanks again for coming on.
No, my
Great,
pleasure.
great information. Great topic today.
Mhm.
And to our audience, I hope you learned something from it. If you do, reach out to
Yeah.
Steve. Like I said before, 516-727-2294.
Thanks. If you have any
Go, man.
questions about, going into restaurants and improving and getting more clients and cleaning up operationally and stuff, talk to Chuck, 410-935-6132.
You got it, man. Steve, audience,
Perfect.
everybody, have a great evening. Have a great weekend.
You
It's
too.
cold out there wherever you
Yeah.
are. If it's cold,
Stay
be
warm.
warm. If you're warm, I love it. I want to be warm. And
Stay warm.
yes, sir. And have a great weekend, everybody. And
You too.
we'll talk soon, Steve.
Take care. Thanks, Chuck.
Take care. See ya.
Bye.
See you, everybody.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.